Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this episode we're going to start dismantling the suspension components and put the new ones back in so we can get it first on the floor and check if the gearbox works so we can go backwards and forwards, and if that's good we can get a ring, we can get a door, we can get an MOT and we can start enjoying it back again. But before we get too deep into today's video, as usual, let's roll the intro. As I said, what we're going to do is remove the wheel, we're going to take the shock absorber off and the suspension arm off. We're going to replace it for new ones. If you haven't seen how we inspected the wheel arch and the suspension components, I'm going to link the video up here, up there I think, so you can go and watch that before you actually get to watch this and see what we're doing. So let's get the wheel off and let's start removing parts. Now that we got both of them out, what we're going to have to do is just remove the bolts, and then we're going to be able to get the knuckle away from the actual shock absorber. So let's do that. The issue that I've been having, because the crash was this way, push the shock absorber in, and that is the camber bolt. So basically this brings the actual knuckle inwards or outwards. What was happening is that the bolt was stuck in here. I was able to actually remove the nut, but I couldn't get the bolt to move at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get two new bolts for this side anyway, so it doesn't matter how we marked them. And what I'm going to do then is adjust the camber to whatever it needs to be adjusted to, and then I'll take it to a place and get it properly tracked and all that. But yeah, what we're going to do with this now, you can see that the knuckle comes in and out. It's nice and hot now. But as you can see, this is what I was on about being the camber bolt. So you can see it has a recess there. So it goes in and out when you turn it, and that's basically your camber bolt. What we need to do now is take the knuckle, separate the knuckle from the shock absorber. So if you look at it this way, the knuckle goes inside the shock absorber itself. So with a pry bar now we're going to be able to push this out, so it's disconnected from this. We're going to have to remove this bolt so then we can get this ABS sensor out, and we're going to have to as well remove from this side we're going to have to remove that bolt so we can remove the brake hose from the shock absorber, and then we're going to have to go up there and remove the 3 bolts on the top mount, and then we should be able to fit the new one. So let's crack on. This bolt here and the bolt for the hose line are going to be 12, so hopefully we can get them out. It is turning, so that's a good sign. Hopefully we don't break it. Come on, baby. One out. Let's do the other one. And here's the other one out. So now we can actually start moving the knuckle from the actual shock absorber. Right, let's see if we can move this out away from the shock. Which it seems like we can. That seems like it's working. Okay, more. Seems like that might do the trick. I think a couple of more taps on that will help. There we go. So that's out now. And now all we need to do is take this bracket off and then go up there and do the rest. So happy days. What we're gonna have to remove now is these 3 nuts here that hold the whole shock absorber to the actual strut tower. So we're gonna remove that, and once that's done, the whole suspension, the whole shock is gonna be able to come out. So let's do that. And then we're going to be ready to actually, maybe, today, have it on the floor. These are going to be 12s. And they actually don't need to be, or the torque setting is not that high anyway. So if you see, there we go. That's amp. So we're going to do, we're going to loosen all of them a bit, and then we're going to go slowly so the actual suspension doesn't hit us on the feet, because that wouldn't be fun. We shouldn't be far off now, and that's it. There we go. So here it is, how bent my shock absorber is. And now we're going to replace it for a new one. Look how bent that is. But the good thing is that the spring is good. Look at that. And because the top mounts were replaced not too long ago, I think I'll replace them probably, was it 2 years or a year and a half ago. So if I grab this, I can spin it and there is no noise. The way I'm doing this is a bit sketchy because I can't get really, if I compress these two together, I can't really get enough tension to be able to remove the top mount without shooting away. So last time I did it the same way. What I did is basically put the top ring on the coupler here. Of course I put the chain this time because last time I didn't know that the chain was flat, so yeah. Sometimes you learn the hard way. So now we got this nice and secure, and what we're going to do is basically press this, compress it, and then we're going to remove that rubber protector here, the rubber cover, and we're going to take undo the nut from here so we can take the top mount and the shock absorber and put the new one back in. In my case, the top nut is going to be a 17, so we're going to compress this a bit. I think that might be enough. And let's see if we can undo it. The nut has moved, but what's happening now is basically the nut and the thread actually moving together, and this is why you got that hole in there, and that is a 6 Allen key. So basically what I'm going to do is put a 17 socket in here and an Allen key on the top, and then we're going to be able to undo them. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that with one of them, or you can do it with a spanner, but this is like a ratchet spanner, so you can do it like that. You can put that in there, and once we got this one in there, we're going to put, can you appreciate that? Can you see it properly there? Yeah. So just like that, and what we want to do is basically go one against the other. So if I do this, that should start actually undoing. What usually happens is when you do this, the shock comes out all together, like it just shoots down. But because I'm assuming because of how it's bent, and maybe this rod is bent a little inside, it's not straight, so it can't come out. So this is quite funny actually. The reason why the shock is not coming away from the spring is because, as you can see right there, it's tapped in. There you go. And here it is, one broken shock absorber. Still quite good on damping. I mean, well, no, it isn't. There you go. Brilliant. So we're gonna need this, and we're gonna scrap that. Here we got the two front shock absorbers. You know I like going OEM when I can, so I went KYB, which is what Subaru normally uses. We have replaced the ones at the back not too long ago. I think it's been 2 years or something like that, and they are good. At the front ones, I never touched them apart from doing the lower springs and the top mounts. So, you know, I suppose this was a good time to actually go for something good. I mean, I didn't need all that accident to actually repair or replace, I should say, the shock absorbers, but you know, here we are. One thing that I'm going to say is that this 334371 is the left hand side, and the 334370 is the right hand side. I put them like that so I know which one is which one, but basically that's the left and that's the right. I was looking to see if it actually says right or left, but it doesn't. But I mean, oh yeah, actually it does. Look, right there it says right. You can see it right here. The only thing that I'm going to say is because that coupler that you can see there is not straight, so basically it leans towards one side or the other. As you can see, let me see if I can show you. You can see it right there, how it is, right? You're going to have to put it in a position where you can actually have the top ones at the top, and when you put pressure on it, when you lock this down, it still can rotate on top of the spring compressor, because otherwise it's going to create tension between the spring compressor and your top mount, and you're not going to be able to remove it. So that's what we're going to do. In that position, I'm quite happy with it. I already got all the gas cover and the bump stop in there, and that's a new shock absorber fitted. Now what I'm going to do is find the torque settings for this nut up here, and then I'm going to just torque that to make sure everything is as it should be. We're going to put the rubber protector up here, and we're going to put it back in the car. So very excited about that. I'm going to try to give you a bit of another angle of how I'm mounting this, but basically what we're going to do is get the shock absorber down, put it here at the top, put a couple of nuts in by hand, and then we should be able to tighten the bottom. So let's see if we can do that. Ideally what I should do is undo the nut here, so then when I get to take the track rod end out, it'll be easy to spin it. But because I'm so eager to actually get on the floor and see if it drives backwards and forwards, I'm just going to disconnect it for now, and then when we are replacing them, we'll see what we do. I mean, I might just chop it off and take it from there since we're not going to be using it. We'll see. Anyway, let's get that out. If I remember correctly, it's going to be a 17. So we're going to... Oh, actually that was easier than I thought. But as well, to be honest, I have replaced them not too long ago, so they're not corroded or anything. So let's remove that. The nut is out. If we give it a couple of taps, that's out, and now we can fit our shock with a knuckle. What we're going to do though, I'm going to make the shock absorber come up a bit more up here. I'm going to make the shock absorber to go up a bit more, so then I can fit this properly, because as you can see right now, it's nowhere near. So let's do that first. I've been trying to mount the shock absorber, or to marry the shock absorber with the knuckle, but the issue that we haven't is basically because, as you can see right here, let me get the light for you, right there, the suspension arm itself there, right there, is bent. What's happening is the actual knuckle is being pushed inwards, so basically it's not at the right height. So what we're going to do, I mean, we were going to replace the suspension arm itself anyway. I thought I was going to be able to actually do this first and then do the arm, but it doesn't really matter. We're going to do then the arm first, and then once we remove the arm, we can fit this, and then we can fit the new arm. we're going to attempt to remove the pinch bolt for the ball joint. So I'm going to give it just a bit of a friendly hand to actually remove it and see how hard it gets. Hopefully it doesn't put much of a fight, but you never know with these things. There we go. She's out. So now we can put the fork in here, hit it, and hopefully he comes up. As you can see, I put the track vent back on just so I can hold this properly while I'm hitting the fork. When it comes to remove your ball joint, remember that you're going to have a 19 nut underneath. So take that off. If you got the pin, safety pin, take the pin off, and then we can put the fork in between the arm and the knuckle, hit it, and as you can see, that is good to go. So in theory, if I lift this up, so now if we remove our track rod end, that's out now, we can turn the shock absorber the way it's meant to go, and in theory we should be able to, there we go, put our knuckle in. That's brilliant. So what we're gonna have to do now is find where I put the bolt. So just give me a second. Remember, the camber bolt has a washer. Let's get the nut started as well. Now we can actually remove the suspension arm. Let's remove the bolt that goes into the subframe, which I don't remember how I did the last time. I think I'm going to have to get an extension and put it like that. So let's see. I have removed now the bolt and nut. So for them, you're going to have to use a 19 socket and a span on the other side. So that's how it basically goes in. So what we're going to do, as usual, put a bit of fire into the mix. Then we're going to spray it and we're going to try to remove it. They're going to be 19s. So hopefully we can get them out with no issues. Fingers crossed. Spray it. And hopefully he comes out. Alright, that came out nicely. Now let's do the one that is underneath on the other side. You're not going to be able to see it, so I'm not going to record it. I'm just going to try to get it out, and I'll show you in a second. Both bolts are out. They're like this, basically, still hot. And now, in reality, you should be able to bring this down and just unhook it from there and bring it out. So, just remember, not like me, because I'm getting too excited and I want to get all this done. Remember to remove your drop link. Fuck me. It's been a long day. Drop link is out. Let's have a go. Oh yeah, look at that. Silly me. So in reality, we should be able to remove it now. There we go. Oh yeah. So look how nice and bent that was. You see? Kink there. Broken here. And this is the bracket I was on about. So as you can see, that slides in and out. We managed to remove the old shock absorber. We managed to put the new one back in. We managed to remove the suspension arm that was broken, kink, damage, whatever, and we're gonna fit now the new one, and then after that we're gonna put it on the floor and I'm gonna drive it just backwards and forwards here in the unit just to make sure that the car drives properly, just to make sure that the gearbox actually works. But unfortunately, I ran out of time today to put the new suspension on, even though I'm very excited and I want to do it and I want to get it done and see what the car is like, and I'm buzzing right now. But unfortunately I need to go and buy some stuff before the shop close. So for you it's going to be 2 seconds, for me it's going to be probably, I don't know, 12 hours. So I'll see you in a second. Alright, we're back, and what we got here is the new suspension arm. What I need to do now, which it didn't come with the suspension arm, it didn't come off with the suspension arm, is the ball joint. So I got a tool for that I have used off camera once, and it actually works quite nicely. So let's see if it works this time. So the tool that I've got is basically this thing here, which basically what it does is like it hooks onto, so it screws, and this screws into the ball joint itself, and then we undo this, and by undoing it we should bring down the ball joint with it. So let's give it a go and I'll show you how it works. And there we go, look, 2 seconds, and that ball joint, there you go, ball joint is out and clean. So yeah, you can see how good this was. Yeah, brilliant. So what we can do now is have a quick clean in here, and we can put our suspension arm, or ball joint, and everything should go in nicely, hopefully at least. But yeah, this tool is worth it. Right, so the suspension arm is on. As you can see, we're not far off with the track rod end. I still have to put the 21 nut that goes at the back, right there. So I'm going to do that now, and then I don't know if I'm going to try to straight this track rod end so the tire is not like all loose when I put it on the floor. But yeah, in reality we should be able to almost get it on the floor. So very excited. Let's see what happens. Everything is nice and taut. I decided to not touch the track rod end because I don't want to damage the steering rack. So what I'm going to do is put a wheel here. We're going to lower it, and we're going to see if you actually go backwards and forwards. So if the gearbox is all right, and I'm hoping it is. I'm hoping all this work actually was worth it. So we're going to put a wheel, and we're going to put one of the new ones to me. So let's see what it looks like. Alright, don't look at it yet. Let me put the other ones on, and we have a proper look when it's on the floor. So just give me a second. Let's get it down and see what happens. Alright, tires are pumped, this side and this side. We're not going to be able to go too far back, since as you can see we're quite close there to the wall. But I just want to see if the gearbox works properly. So we're going to go probably up to here, and then try to go all the way back forward. So this is the moment, guys. Alright, here goes nothing. I'm just going to put it in reverse, and hopefully it goes back, and put it on drive, and hopefully it goes forward. So let's see. so happy. Oh my god, she works, she works, she works, she works. Yes, yes, yes. She works. Come on, come on. It's a new day. I'm so happy that the gearbox works, that we actually can go backwards and forwards. There's no knocks, there's no grinding, there's no weird noises. So that was a big one. That was a big one, because if that was broken or the shafts were broken, we will have to buy some shaft, which they're a bit pricey. And then if we had to buy a new gearbox or a second-hand gearbox, it was going to be a nightmare. It will put a big dent on a budget, and I didn't want that. So I'm over the moon with that. I'm so happy. I was this close from sharing it here. This car means so much to me, and it's been now, what, 7 months since the accident, and it's been hard. It's been hard to actually see the car like this, to sometimes get out of bed and try to find the motivation to come here and to do some work and stuff like that. Sometimes, I don't know, sometimes you just, it's not you feel out of love, but just your lack of motivation. Anyway, we passed that, thank God for that. Now we carry on. What we're gonna do today is remove the track rod ends and the inner rods from my old Forester XT steering rack, and we're gonna fit him on the STI steering rack that we've got in the car. What we're gonna have to do is go to the good side of the car, so the near side, and then we're gonna have to jack it up, remove the outer rod or the track rod end, and then we're gonna have to measure the inner rod. If the measurement on that inner rod in terms of length is exactly the same as our inner rod on the old steering rack, we're good to go. We can fit the same thing, and what we're gonna have to do then is track it, which I got the tools here to track it, and eventually we're gonna take it somewhere to get a proper 4-wheel align, but that's what we're gonna do today. So in reality, this is the last big deal of this project, this rebuild if you like. If the inner rods are exactly the same length as the inner rods on the XT steering rack, we're good to go. We can replace like for like, put them back on, track the car, and then we can test the steering rack. If that steering rack is good, if it turns like it should turn, same ratio more or less one side or the other, we can adjust that anyway. But if that is good to go, there's no knock-ins. What it means is that the car is basically ready to go. All we need to do is get some new 4 tires, get the wing and the door, and that's about it. We are ready to do the MOT. We're ready to take it for an MOT, the annual inspection in other countries, and I'm beyond excited for that. But I don't want to get too excited just yet, because as I said, we need to check that it fits correctly, it's the same length. So let's get that track rod then off and see if exactly the same measurement as the other one. Fingers crossed. As you can see, I already loosened the nut right there. I loosened as well the nut for the track rod end. Alright, so let's see if we can just remove it like this. There we go, that's out. And yeah, actually look, we can move it. So we're gonna count how many turns. I don't know how well you can see it, but basically here there is a bolt that goes across there. It's a 10 mil. So I want to remove that. That's one out, and that's the other one. Alright, there we go. So this is what we have there. Basically, like, I don't know, like a metal retainer. Don't really know what it is. So now what we're going to be able to do is remove this clip here that you can see, and then we're going to have to remove the clip on the other side, and then we'll remove the boot, so then we can actually measure it. We go the inner rod in all its glory, and as you can see, what we wanted to do is measure from here all the way till the end right there, and this is actually exactly 30 centimeters. What we're gonna have to do now, if you look right there, is that it has like a washer, like a safe washer. You can see it right there, that there's a washer, and basically the washer goes right over where you're gonna put your tool to be able to remove your inner rod. So what we're gonna have to do is basically smash that, or like straighten it if you like, so then we can actually get our tool and we can remove it if they are the same size as the one that we got on the old XT steering rack. As you can see, I've removed the track rod end from the inner, And now what we're going to have to do, just like we did with the inner rod that is in the car, is measure from here to there. So that's 30 centimeters, as you can see right there. So if we put it here, that is, let's put it properly so you can see it, that is exactly the same as the other one. So that is so pleasing, that's so good, because this one's are fairly new. This is not a video on how to remove your track rod ends and inner rods and put the new ones back in. I'm gonna go fairly quick over it, but if you actually want to know how I've done this, because these ones are featured in the channel, I'll link the video up here so you can go and watch that. But yeah, I'm so happy and so relieved that we can use inners and outers from the XT steering rack on the STI. They're the same measurements. What we're gonna have to do is crack them off from here, which I got the tool for it, and the ones in the car. So I'm going to show you how I'll do it in the car, and then I'm going to do this off camera and we're going to go to the car and mount them. So yes, let's go and do that. So the way that this is going to work now is we're going to slide the part right here. We're going to try to lock that in place. Just flick that metal sliding pin, the metal sliding brace. So as you can see now, this doesn't come out. And now all we have to do is going to be to put a breaker bar here, right like so, right there. And all we got to do now is basically grab it, and that's it. That has loosened. Now inner rod, as you can see, the inner rod is coming out, and that's it. I have removed the outer rod now, and I have actually removed the washer at the back. So just tap it so it's flat and we can actually get the tool. Let's see if we can get the tool with this bent, otherwise we're gonna have to probably chop it and then remove it. So that's what the old one looked like. As I said, I had to cut it off to be able to get the tool over it, and then that's what the new ones look like. This side is all nice and done, nice and torqued. We're gonna now have to align it, and the other side is done as well with the boot and everything on. So as I said, now what we're gonna have to do is align it. Yes, I know it is a new day, another t-shirt on. But the reason why it's a new day, you're going to find out, hopefully, fingers crossed, very soon. But as you can see right here, I'm doing a quick alignment with this tool. Basically, this is very basic. What you do is you use 2 tape measures, and then you'll see, for example, at the front right here, we've got, you can see it right there, go 156 centimeters, 0.34, and in here, I don't know if you're going to be able to actually see it, but right here we've got 156 centimeters, 0.6. Now that I have adjusted both, so we got the same measurement at the front of the wheel and at the back of the wheel, I'm going to put here the spec sheet for Subaru to give you the toe, the caster and the camber, and basically it says it has to be 3 millimeters plus minus in between the front and the rear of the car basically. So I'm not going to be able to measure now the rear because I know it's out anyway and it needs a 4-wheel alignment, but I wanted to have the front sort of straight, sort of at the same angle. I'm going to tweak with that a bit later as well, because I've got a digital toe tool, that's a mouthful, and I'm going to basically check it a few times to make sure that it's as good as it can be, as good as with the spec that I said on that spec sheet. But for now, to be able to actually just test it, see if it actually runs and drives properly and turns and there's no knocks and bunks and nothing like that, this will be good as well. I need to adjust the camber, because this side here, when I put the wheel on, you're going to see that it's actually having negative camber. On the other side it's a bit more straight, so I don't have the tool here right now for the camber, so I'm not worried about that. I just wanted to sort of have the 2 wheels toe in or out exactly the same way. So that's how we're going to leave it. And now we're going to be ready to just test drive it. As I said, very quick. We're just going to take it out here. We're going to get, it's a bit windy out here, so hopefully you can hear me properly. But basically what we're going to do is move the Chrysler out, move the Mini out, and we're going to try to get the Forester out and drive it here and see what it's like. As you can see, there are a lot of things that we're going to have to move. We're going to have to move the toolbox. That's the XT rack. We're going to have to move these boxes. Of course, the Mini is going to have to go. We're going to have to tidy all up as well, because I left this as a mess yesterday. And then we're going to be able to get the car out and see what happens. So yeah, I'm going to put the wheels back on while I wait for Lee to come from work, and I'll catch up with you in a second. Right, hold on a minute now. Right, come on. Now put your opposite lock on. Opposite lock. Go on. Go on. Right, put your lock on now. Good, yeah. Fucking works! It works, man! That's crazy! That's crazy! That's, oh my god, it works! Oh. I'm so happy! That's it, that's just ready to go. We need a wing, we need a door, we need Lee's magic to be able to pull that hinge out a tiny bit, but that's about it. I mean, I can't believe it. It's been what, 7-8 months? Oh man. We got the Forester running, we got the Mini running. I don't know what else to say, that's it. Yeah man, as usual, thank you for watching, thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing if you do, and I shall see you very shortly.